the internet is being torn apart by something huge that just happened in the hip-hop industry. Finally, after years of denial, silence, and meticulous image manipulation, Jim Jones has done the unimaginable. Fans are dubbing this moment the confession that ended an era. He revealed the startling reality about his longtime companion, Chrissy Lampkin, and even his closest friends are refusing to react since the revelations are so outrageous and intimate. A mystery 29-second footage that suddenly surfaced on a private fan forum was the catalyst for everything, and it quickly went viral on social media. Jim's voice sounds low, strained, and unpolished throughout the video. "I kept quiet to protect her," he says, as you can hear. But no longer. Twitter crashed within minutes. Instagram shuts down in the middle. Even celebrity gossip accounts stopped posting because no one was prepared for what would happen next. Jim's revelations, according to insiders, went beyond a simple breakup story. The level of betrayal was legendary. Secret communications, covert meetings, and a truth that has been hidden for years under deception, luxury, and allegiance. It has the potential to ruin reputations, change the course of reality TV, and make viewers reevaluate their notions of fame, love, and devotion. The wildest part comes next. That's just the beginning of the video you've seen, because the next thing that will be revealed could destroy careers. The reality that Jim Jones just revealed will completely alter everything. So stay right here. They said that Chrissy Lampkin and Jim Jones' love would endure no matter what. Reality, TV turmoil, rumors, and industry pressure. However, this was not anticipated since that image of allegiance simply exploded in the period of one disclosed discussion. Jim had been recording with buddies in a dim Manhattan studio as the story opens. The rapper's phone started vibrating constantly, according to two different witnesses. After ignoring it for an hour, he mumbled, "She truly believe I'm not sure." No one listened until he got up, departed, and turned to swing the door of the booth. A studio intern captured what would turn out to be this year's most talked about hip-hop track 10 minutes later. The security feeds, hidden microphones caught Jim pacing outdoors while speaking to someone on speakerphone. The tone icy. "Told you, Chrissy, you can't lie forever," he responded. There was a pause, followed by her voice quivering. The internet was enraged at the single sentence. "You don't understand what they made me do." 2 nights after the clip was leaked, viewers believed it to be a hoax. Then Jim verified it with a single, mysterious tweet. "The mic is found by everything in the dark." The world eventually went crazy. Was he calling Chrissy a traitor? What is it in an hour? Jones filled every stream with hashtags like #PrayFor and #ChrissyExposed. Insider knowledge said that nobody could have predicted how bad the entire call was. One producer who says he heard the uncut recording says Jim confronted Chrissy about what he described as a hidden arrangement. This statement immediately sparked rumors about money, management arrangements, and even purported partnerships behind his back. But it wasn't just that. According to the same source, a second person on the line was a male voice instructing Chrissy, "Don't say a word." It's handled. Who was the mysterious man when fans realized that chaos had broken out? Why did he answer the phone? And why did Chrissy mutter, "Please, don't do this," before the sound stopped? A new bombshell was dropped, and screenshots of Jim's private WhatsApp group appeared online with messages like, "She used me for access and they set me up for views." The authenticity of the messages is still up for debate, but fans insist that the timestamps and typing patterns match Jim's style. A former reality TV employee even asserted that these words allude to a long-forgotten plot point from Love and Hip Hop New York that producers were purportedly told to remove by Sunrise years ago. Thousands of fans were looking for hints by rewatching previous episodes. All of the side glances, arguments, and awkward pauses now seemed like premonition. A viral thread was posted by a TikTok user. Are the 10 indicators Jim was aware of all along? 5 million people watched the video in just 4 hours. Remy Ma was the first star to respond. She left a 3-word remark beneath a gossip post. "I told you years." Minutes after she removed it, screenshots were already all over the internet. A chain reaction was started by that one comment. Meek Mill liked a dubious post about people trading airtime for devotion. Cardi B shared an enigmatic tale. "Avoid playing with men who compose rhymes. They're going to rhyme your secrets." All were conversing, but no one was calling names. Jim disappeared in the meantime. No sightings, no posts, until all of a sudden, his account had a midnight Instagram live. There was low music and gloomy lighting. He appeared worn out, furious, and perhaps wounded. He looked at the camera and stated, "I tried to protect her, but you can't rely on phony to last forever." Benny said something hardly discernible in a whisper. "Look over the tapes." The live cut occurred in less than 20 minutes. It started to circulate a Dropbox link, purportedly holding the tapes. The source of the leak is unknown. Data contained 4 audio files with the labels CL Truth 1, CL Truth 2, and so on. There was background noise in 1, and 2 were blank. The 4th and last file, however, was disastrous. It included what sounded like Chrissy discussing with a TV producer the possibility of fabricating a breakup plot to boost ratings. but the topic of conversation changed. "You know, it'll go viral if you get him emotional," the producer added. The reply from Chrissy was like dynamite. "He'll forgive me later. He always does." Her fans bombarded her social media accounts with accusations of manipulation. Some defended her by pointing to editing errors and asserting that the leak was caused by AI. Nevertheless, the harm was immediate. The sponsorships disappeared. A podcast arrangement was put on hold indefinitely. Then the betrayal became more profound. An authenticated account from one of Jim's closest pals, his longtime tour partner, a DJ, shared a since-deleted tweet. "You guys aren't even aware of how painful it is." The significance of the ring was revealed to him. Theories blew up in seconds. Was he referring to Chrissy's well-known engagement ring that she purchased for herself on show? Was there a more sinister secret? Someone asserted that the ring had been included in a joint venture agreement. It represented a covert collaboration that denied Jim control of one of his home projects. According to another insider, the tale grew. The headlines on every gossip page read, "Did Chrissy Lampkin use Jim Jones to secure the bag? And did Chrissy Lampkin use a secret deal that was exposed in the love and hip-hop scandal?" The most bizarre twist, however, was revealed by a reporter at The Source who disclosed that he had received a call months earlier. "I will pretend to be a female who is anonymous and is attempting to sell private recordings of Jim and producers squabbling." Perceiving it as phony, he declined. Under the #Jones Tapegate tag, those recordings may be the identical ones that are saturating Reddit. At last, Chrissy spoke up as the confusion grew. She broadcast live from what appeared to be her living room, her voice trembling and her face uncovered. "I'm not perfect," she said. She declined to respond to inquiries, but admirers saw a tall, blurry man's reflection in the background wearing a cap that looked quite similar to Jim's. "But people need to stop acting like they know our story." Manager Dan's. He allegedly mouthed the words, "Turn it off." By this time, everything had gone nuclear, according to frozen frames that circulated within hours. Anonymous accounts purporting to be former VH1 insiders started releasing PDFs of previous contracts, implying that whole seasons of their romance were staged to conceal a private breakup. Whether accurate or not, the story could not be stopped. War zones were created in comments sections. Once hailed by fans as the model for hip-hop love, they are now accused of being the longest-running lie in Hollywood. However, something more was rising behind the indignation. Compassion. Resurfaced were old interviews in which Jim expressed his weariness at being the villain, and Chrissy admitted, "She sometimes didn't recognize who I became for love. What once appeared to be charming clips now seems terrible, even ominous." Then, just as fans believed the narrative had reached its climax, a second tape came to light. The alleged source of this is a phone conversation between Jim and his mother. His mother says, "I warned you about letting TV raise your relationship." Jim responds, "Ma, it wasn't TV, it was her." His voice was filled with grief. Chrissy was seen by paparazzi outside her flat the following morning, clearly upset, her tears concealed by sunglasses. She was asked if she would talk to Jim again. By sunglasses. She was asked if she would talk to Jim again. She merely remarked, "If he still believes in love, he knows where I am." The video went viral, but the story continued to heat up because that afternoon, another recording was stolen from the same Dropbox folder that one fan hadn't yet viewed. Jim's last recording session before the scandal began coincided with the timestamp. Someone overheard him talking to someone off the camera says, "They'll call it gossip, but it's truth. They'll realize why I had to destroy everything when they hear it." "Burn it all down" was the week's most popular phrase. Celebrities began utilizing it in remixes, memes, and t-shirts. A lone, unsettling query brought the entire internet together. What did Jim Jones mean by destroying everything with fire? Because, according to recent insider rumors, there is still one recording that no one has listened to. A recording that could change fans' perceptions of the love tale that shaped a whole generation of hip-hop reality TV, if it is authentic. And one rumor spread among band circles as the whispers got stronger. The final recording is about revenge rather than treachery. Doesn't involve treachery, it's about getting even. By the time the sun came up, the hashtag burn it all down had become popular. In their captions, fans were quoting it. Rappers began incorporating it into their freestyles. Additionally, full podcasts were provided live for the sole purpose of deciphering every single one of Jim Jones's obscure phrases. However, absolutely nothing prepared the internet for what was about to happen. At 10 in the morning, an unconfirmed account on Twitter, a discussion titled "The Lost Tape" was uploaded by a person named Real Truth Vault. More than 100,000 people retweeted it in a few minutes. Transcribed excerpts from the last recording Jim supposedly mentioned were included in the discussion. Just the first line was enough to make everyone shiver. "She shouldn't have learnt that way, but she had me hold her hand." The following sentences depicted a scene from a thriller. Jim confronted an unidentified producer, stating, "I know what y'all did with that footage. How much she got paid to humiliate me on national TV." The fans erupted. Was this his act of retaliation? Assured. Screenshots of a network and Chrissy's direct messages. executives abruptly revealed screenshots purportedly of her discussing a sale. Exclusive content from behind the scenes. The executive stated in one communication, "If you make it emotional, you'll get your own spin-off." Chrissy allegedly responded, "Don't worry, I'll make him cry." The screenshots, whether authentic or fake, were very powerful. Forums erupted in incredulity. The metadata of the audio was confirmed by a sound engineer. According to a well-known reality TV blogger, he said, "It's legit." On Twitter, Jim told the truth. Jim eventually spoke again that afternoon, but not this time. On Instagram, he shared just one picture, a meshach on fire next to an old engagement picture. No hashtags or captions, just the image of the flame consuming the photo. Within 20 minutes later, the post had 2 million likes. Celebrities jumped in. 50 Cent said that loyalty might backfire. As Chrissy's world collapsed, Fat Joe even reposted it with the message, "Real pain, make real bars." When stylist Tasha K, a close friend of hers, unintentionally went live during a phone discussion, viewers heard behind it, "Chrissy is crying." He wasn't supposed to tell that part. She called out. The phrase "he knows the cameras" weren't the real secret. Had everyone on the internet go into detective mode. What actually is the secret? The betrayal was already revealed. What could have been worse? Duration of hours. Jim had canceled all of his planned appearances for the month, according to TMZ's later report, but followers detected something odd. He was seen with a film crew leaving a recording studio. He has microphones attached to his jacket. There were wild rumors that he was making a documentary about his own response. He's not only cleaning his name, he's rewriting the story. A source told the Shade Room. As the commotion increased, a fresh leak surfaced on TikTok. A 2-minute voice memo purportedly from Chrissy to one of her confidants. Her tone was agitated, and she claimed that he wasn't supposed to know about Miami. He has receipts that would cause people to reconsider who was the culprit. The words Miami and contract email immediately became trending topics. Some fans speculated that she had secretly signed a separate deal with another network while still under Jim's brand, while others thought it was about an endorsement scandal involving missing money. It was just business. Now he's threatening to drop the contract email. By sunset, the internet was split into Army Team Jim, Team Chrissy, and a burgeoning movement named Team Truth demanding that both release everything. Instagram Lives were hit, and Twitter Spaces were filled with yelling battles, but no one was certain. A YouTube channel called The Vault Reveals uploaded a private home video clip titled "The Night Everything Changed," and one fan even live-streamed themselves driving past Jim's studio to see if smoke was rising. Then, as if predetermined by fate, the unthinkable occurred. The video clip had 500,000 views. "You keep chasing music that doesn't pay the bills," she adds in a video that seemed to be from years ago and shows Chrissy and Jim in their living room before my fight. She cries, "Then stop lying to the world about us." He shoots back, "I pursue truth, not fame." Just as a glass breaks, the camera cuts off. The footage shocked the fandom, humanizing them while also confirming what everyone had suspected their love had been, deteriorating long before reality TV ever touched it. Within hours, bloggers assembled a timeline that revealed covert splits, private reconciliations, and undisclosed therapy sessions. Each leak depicted a couple who constructed a palace out of love, then burned it on fire for ratings. Then, just as outrage began to give way to empathy, the next twist came like a meteor. Entertainment received an email bombardment, journalists from an unidentified sender. Subject line: evidence of adultery. Blurred pictures of Jim arm in arm with an unidentified woman, timestamped 6 months prior to the purported recordings, were attached. The sender said Chrissy found the pictures first and agreed to sabotage him on camera because of them. The story abruptly changed again. Talk shows jumped on the turnaround when Wendy Williams spent an entire episode leaning forward and saying, "You mean to tell me Chrissy wasn't the genius Jim was? Did Jim go public first to control the damage, or was he the betrayer all along?" When the clip went viral, the responses were harsh. "We're not sure who to trust anymore." But the plot thickened. One viewer commented, "I obtained the video the same evening when a group text that had been posted on Twitter showed Jim texting to 2 friends. She got pictures. Let her drop them." The statement said, "It's my truth, even though it's not pretty." He wasn't denying the pictures. Rather, he was challenging her to make them public. In the meantime, Chrissy shared a single Instagram story with a black backdrop and white text that said, "You can't play victim and villain at the same time." Fans gasped. Within, Jimmy counterposted, "Then stop reading from the script." In the minutes, the energy on the internet was explosive, and every time someone thought the storm was subsiding, another lightning bolt struck. It was open digital warfare, with modern love letters written in shadow and A former cast member of Love and Hip Hop claimed that producers once allegedly forced Chrissy to redo an entire engagement scene to look glamorous because she was crying in real life rather than on TV. The raw version of the footage was reportedly used in Jim's upcoming documentary. Later in the evening, a 30-second teaser leak hit like a grenade, uploaded on an unidentified Vimeo account called The Truth Director's Cut. It began with Jim's speech over slow piano keys, and then it flashed a smashed ring box. a burning contract, and a strange silhouette camera. They told me that love was meant to cure, but they never stated that it could kill. Hip-hop Twitter quickly changed into a countdown clock as the video concluded with the words, "Tomorrow everyone learns." Fans pleaded for hints about what would be released tomorrow, whether it was a song, a documentary, or a confession. When people searched for Jim Jones, The Truth, a placeholder track surfaced for a brief while before disappearing. Was that the release? Was it bait? No one knew. Reporters set up camp outside studios. Even Spotify's algorithm froze. Chrissy's account was private before dawn, and Jim's page was scrubbed clean. No posts, no bio, just a dark profile picture. The quiet was deafening, and while everyone knew the explosion was imminent, no one could guess who would survive it. And shortly before the clock struck 900 p.m., fans immediately tuned in to see next would become the most frightening live broadcast moment in hip-hop history. The world could exhale after a single text screenshot appeared on Channel 7 that was purportedly sent by Jim to a confidant from an unknown number. It had just 3 words. Millions of fans tuned in to Channel 7 anticipating a statement, possibly a diss track premiere, or perhaps an apology. After 7 seconds of silence, the screen flickered, showing Jim Jones sitting by himself in a dark studio with a single light burning over his head. No one anticipated the feed cutting to static first. There was no interviewer or presenter, just him breathing heavily, and his eyes were crimson. "This isn't promotion," he added in a low voice, "but this is the truth." As the words "live unedited stream" flashed across the bottom of the screen, he leaned forward and said, "They've been lying about me, concerning Chrissy and our existence. They claimed she had deceived me. They never inquired as to why, but perhaps she did. This is the agreement they forced her to sign," Jim said, lifting what appeared to be a contract as the studio fell silent but for the sound of paper moving across a table. "They threatened her that she would lose everything if she told me." He threw the pages at the camera. "Now you know why she sobbed on national television." Twitter went crazy. Is this real? The person who held us captive to phony plots, phony arguments, and phony love for 10 years. In real time, viewers recorded the show. One reporter commented, "I'm trembling. This is more significant than rumors. It's a confession made by hostages. They offered her money, celebrity, and a Miami home, but they neglected to disclose it, so Jim persisted." Then he pulled a button, and a fresh video ran on screen. It was raw behind-the-scenes footage of Chrissy in a makeup chair, her eyes puffy from crying, whispering, heard the fine print stating the show owned her image. And me, the idiot who believed love could survive bureaucracy. Unaware that the moment was trimmed to make him appear insane, a producer off-camera remarks, "Drama sells, baby." People who watched from home went crazy. Networks were unable to control the speed of the comments. To get more views, they ruined them. VH1 will require legal counsel. Defend Chrissy. The narrative shifted once more, but Jim wasn't done yet. He took out his phone and played a final voice memo, saying, "I'm not proud of this part." Chrissy's voice recorded the first line, "If you ever tell them what I did, tell them what you did in 2014. She believed she could blackmail me, but the truth she's talking about isn't shame. It's survival." Chrissy went live on Instagram at that very moment, and 2 million people joined right away. Her opening remarks shattered the feed. Jim stared directly into the camera. Split-screen recordings started to appear on TikTok, with fans simultaneously streaming both feeds like a duel. "I pleaded with him to stop TV, and Chrissy sobbed, saying he wanted the attention. He's not lying, but he's also not innocent." Jim heard someone whisper, off mic in the Channel 7 studio, "It's someone who stopped loving. She's live at the moment." There it is, heartbreak in real time for the world to rate. Then the broadcast. He laughed cruelly. The audio tangled into static, and viewers watched 2 streams merge their faces side by side for 3 seconds. Some claimed to have heard Jim say, "I still love you." Some said, he muttered, "It's over." Reporters referred to it as the first live reality implosion. Former cast members issued statements. Camilla tweeted that they attempted to alert producers, and no one could establish which caused the screen to cut to a black dot before the explosion. Within minutes, every major network carried it. The most outrageous response came from an anonymous email blast titled "The Missing Files," which included text messages between a Channel 7 executive and an unidentified publicist planning coordinated exposure drops. The executive wrote, "We leak first, they react," but no one paid attention. Safri went live, screaming that they were airing real trauma for clicks. The turmoil itself was evidence that it had been planned. Fans were incensed. As both alleged boycotts evolved into campaigns of sympathy, hashtags changed from #BurnItAllDown to #ReleaseThem. In 2 hours, the tweet received 1 million likes, with one fan writing, "They were pawns in a billionaire's chess game." Jim disappeared again. When the dust settled, nothing for 48 hours. Then a private video appeared of him driving through Harlem with a trembling camera and stating, "I lost her to the game." Maybe that's how legends die. The video concluded with him stopping next to a mural of Chrissy's face that fans had painted overnight. With a muttered, "We built that," he simply looked, The internet transformed that moment into poetry, and we created it into graffiti, lyrics, merchandise, and hash. People felt as though they had seen a real-time collision between fame and freedom, as well as a mythic love and treachery. Then, a week later, the last twist occurred. A Netflix notice appeared on everyone's phone, the trailer for the new documentary, Love and Lies, The Jim Jones Files, which is currently available for streaming, and it featured behind-the-scenes footage from the Channel 7 broadcast. Turmoil. In a last unseen image, Jim and Chrissy are shown sitting hand in hand months before, and she whispers, "Give the truth if it blows up, even if it means ruining the plot." He responds. The trailer concluded with a pulse sound, and the sentence predicated on social media erupted once more, with some claiming that the entire situation had been planned for 10 years in order to make their pain into the most widely shared disaster in history, while others insisted that it was true and that the two individuals had just chosen to use it as a weapon. The world couldn't help but stare at their suffering before anyone else could, and by the following morning, they were trending together. #GenReZ forever. #Truth over Devon edits spliced their highs and lows into terrible montages, and each tape concluded with that eerie sentence. "Sometimes you have to burn the story to save the soul." Chrissy shared a black and white picture of herself and Jim strolling along a Harlem street, with heads turned away from the camera. "We built that then dash just when everyone thought it was over. In the universe they constructed, truth doesn't end, it trends." And every fan watching understood one thing for sure. When Jim Jones ignited the match, he exposed not only a romance but an entire industry based on deception. Tags, no answers, just closure, or perhaps another beginning. Jim Jones didn't just tell his story, he detonated it. Somewhere in that silence, after the flames, both of them were finally free. And there it is, the truth that Hollywood attempted to hide. The confession that broke a decade-long illusion. The heartbreak that played out live in front of millions of people. Chrissy Lampkin, whether a victim or a criminal, has become part of a mythology that will be researched, streamed, and discussed for years to come. However, this is far from done, as insiders suggest that more film, hidden recordings, and deleted material are still out there. Emails, conversations that never aired, and if even half of the rumors are true, then what we just saw was only Act 1. If you've read this far, don't click away just yet. If you felt that chill when the screen went black, hit the leave button. If you're the first to see it, hit subscribe to determine when the next leak occurs. Because when the truth does finally explode, it won't trend quietly. Please leave a comment below indicating which side you support: Chrissy's fight for redemption or Jim's crusade for truth. Every viewpoint feeds the flames. And believe me, the world is watching, because when it comes to fame, the next secrets are already being recorded. And if you blink, you'll miss the moment that makes all the difference. Love and betrayal are like cameras that never truly turn off. Remain locked in, remain noisy, keep yourself alert, as the next revelation hits sooner than you might anticipate.